Good day, my name is Joe. Today I'll be ranking and kind of doing a tier list of the campaigns of Marvel Champions. This could be you could use it as a buying guide, you could use it as whatever. Just take it as entertainment. It's my opinion. Just a little bit of preface. When I play this game, I play entire campaigns. I do not play one villain at a time. I will play the whole campaign as it should be. With the pre-constructed deck. So I'll take when I bust out Marvel Champions, we'll make the decks and we'll play the entire campaign. We'll choose the one we want to play and we'll play it through. We always play with two-handed, so it'd be my wife and I, or I play two-handed solo. I do not play true solo, or I've never played with more than two players. So take that with as what you will, and just know, once again, these are my opinions. I always play with two heroes on the board, so see a little bit more what I thought about these campaigns. So start off with the beginning at the rise of Red Skull. I think this is kind of where it just all began. To me, this is just a great place to start. This is a great introduction, campaign. Sure, a lot of people have forgot about it by now, but the villains are just kind of straightforward, with the Taskmaster Crossbones, and we end with Zola and then Red Skull. Red Skull has an interesting campaign mechanic, going through that, and the end boss kind of type. You get to upgrade throughout the campaign with these very small upgrades, but it's nice. This is kind of where it all started on the game to game, progression. The villains themselves don't really do the most. It's not the most exciting, but I enjoy playing against these. I don't always need a super complicated villain setup to have a good time. And the Rise of Red Skull, I really enjoy. I'm going to probably put it in the low A tier, just because I enjoy the simplicity. I may even put it in the upper B. We'll see where it is, but it'll be one of the two. I really enjoyed this book. Next, we're going to move on to the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of phase, the Galaxy's Most Wanted. Now, this is the campaign where I wanted to enjoy this one. However, I wanted to enjoy it because of kind of the upgrade system, the collector system. You earn this kind of victory point, and I can choose which upgrades I kind of want throughout the campaign, which is neat. But the fighting the collector twice, going through the Nebula and then the final Ronin parts of the campaign, it just wasn't as enjoyable. I just didn't enjoy the villains. When I think about a campaign arc, this isn't quite hitting it for me. It's not too satisfying. I did play with Groot and Rocket, when I first played this campaign, and maybe that's what I got kind of a downer on, is I didn't really enjoy either one, even though Rocket was kind of interesting. I don't know. This is probably in the C tier for me. It's just one of those that I just don't think I'll play again, just because I don't like the campaign arc. I don't like the story to story progression, even though the upgrade mechanic and spending your kind of credits to buy some of these upgrades really should be good for me. Just the arc in general and the fun on this one is pretty low. Speaking of campaign arcs, we'll go over the Sinister Motives real quick. This, to me, I want to say is my favorite campaign. It has the best arc. I really enjoy it. I enjoyed the small little level ups you can get from the shield upgrades, in the community side scheme services that you kind of needed to do. But just it ramped up in difficulty. It had some interesting villains. Sandman's super easy, but then you go into Venom, which takes a little bit more time, into the Sinister Six, Mysterio, and sorry, I forgot who was the last one, a Venom Goblin in this one. Just the arc of the campaign was a lot of fun for me. This is gonna go in the S tier. I enjoy, progressing through the campaign in this. Maybe because it's the Spider-Verse too, and these are well-known villains, and it just, they weren't overly complicated, but they were a lot of fun to face. Then we're going to go into the Mad King's Shadow. This one is one of the tougher campaigns. Doesn't have the best campaign rewards as you kind of go through it, but this is also a super thematic kind of campaign. I think you go through Ebony Maw, and then you go through the tower defense where you're trying to, defend the, just the towers. And then you go through and fight Thanos in the middle of the campaign. Thanos is the big, Infinity Gauntlet, wielding villain on the box, but he's in the middle. Then you go into Hela, and then finally I think you do the Loki with the gauntlet as well. But to me, this is super thematic. I really enjoyed it. What gives it a knockdown for me is probably the difficulty. I'm gonna put this in the A tier, definitely above, the Rise of Red Skull, but not as quite hitting home as the Sinister Motives. I really enjoy this one. I also want my Marvel Champions to be a little bit easier. I appreciate Marvel Champions because of the varying difficulty. You can ramp it up with Standard 2 and now Standard 3. There's different ways. You can do the Expert, the Heroic. There's different ways to play. But for me, I want a challenge, but I don't want it to be too hard. And some of these were, they were pretty tough. So that's why it's a little bit knocked for me. And I know you can, call me a little bit weak for wanting a little bit easier, of a base experience. But overall, this was a very good one, just a little bit tough. Next, we'll move on to Mutant Genesis. This was the first X-Men campaign to be released. I kind of thought it was fine. The campaign arc was fine, but the highlight of this one's got to be Magneto. Fighting him at the end was just, it was something special. He had before that you had the basic, mansion attack and all this where, the classic fight multiple villains, and Sabretooth was good. Project Wide Awake was fine. But then you go into Magneto and it's like an adventure through it. It's a little bit tougher to set up and to really grasp, but you felt like you were progressing, and I really liked that. I thought the minions on this one had so many hit points that if I didn't play with a high aggression character or a Wolverine, some of these minions that came out were having 8 hit points a go. And, as you progress in the campaign, they just get more and more. And it's a little bit tougher. This is probably in the B category for me. I liked the arc, but man, the Magneto fight in this was so much fun. I really enjoyed it. Good campaign, just didn't quite have the reward structure that I liked, the kind of the campaign arc that I liked. Even it had one of my favorite heroes in Colossus. I really do like it. I didn't really like too terribly much how he just got 2 toughness cards. I think they could have done a little bit more with them, but overall this campaign was good, just not one of my favorites. I thought the minions were very tough to get through if you don't have a high aggression deck. Next, we're going to move on to Next Evolution. Now, this one I played with Domino and Cable. I played straight out of the box, straight with the decks they gave, and I'm going to say I had a great time. There wasn't anything special about this campaign except for, to me, the Juggernaut. There was a whole bunch of just Morlock siege kind of break in on the run, like nothing special. Then you get to the Juggernaut, and that was a memorable fight for me. And then Mr. Sinister and Strife. But what I did like, what they introduced on this one during the campaign, was the side schemes. I enjoyed the side schemes. I thought that was a lot of fun, where you need to commit resources to do this, but you get a powerful effect. You can choose when to do that effect, especially Cable. You can put cards, in your area. Yeah, you'll have to thwart it, in a bit, but you're going to get some powerful reward from it. I really, really enjoyed the side scheme mechanic in this one throughout the campaign, and as a whole, as a new mechanic. So to me, this is going to land in the A tier. I know this is kind of probably not everyone's favorite campaign, but just how it played for me. Fighting the Juggernaut was a lot of fun, but introducing those side schemes to do different things on the board, I really enjoyed as a campaign arc. So this is going to go in the A tier for me. Then we're going to go on to the newest one, the Age of Apocalypse. And this, the mission part of the campaign has to bring this down. I'm sorry, the villains in this game are amazing. You know, they finally come up with, you know, Unis, a great design, the Four Horsemen, the two versions of Apocalypse. Just the villains by themselves in this box are good. If you want it just for villains, if you play one-offs, this is it. If you play campaign arcs like me, the mission style is not it. This was a big L for me. One, it did make it harder, but you also have to have allies in your deck. They have to be committed, and you're going to lose them forever. If you don't get the right draws off the top of your deck to kind of thwart some of the stuff, you're just going to be kind of hosed throughout the rest of the campaign. The missions were just terrible for me in this. They just made it overly complicated, overly hard, bloated the scenario time. I mean, I think it took me an extra, you know, on average, maybe 10 to 15 minutes per scenario. And we, like I said, two-handed, so it's already going to take a little bit more time, but I like to see a lot more of the deck. So this is going to be probably in the C tier for me. The villains are great. The campaign arc, though, not quite. I may even put this in a B tier. Maybe it doesn't deserve to be with the Galaxy's Most Wanted, but just villains were great. You know, Magic and Bishop were great, but just the mission side scheme as a whole in the campaign. So that's kind of my overview and my opinions on the campaigns. Now you have to take my opinion as a grain of salt. I don't play all the time. If you want more content, you know, there's D20 Woodworking. There's some other sites dedicated to Marvel Champion Play, where they play all the time. They really deep dive. But as a 5,000 or 50,000 foot view of some of these campaigns, you know, I've played most of these twice, except for Age of Apocalypse and Next Evolution. They've all been good and a lot of fun. Some just hit the mark more than the others, and it may have been the experience. But when I play the campaign, I want the ramping up. I want to feel more powerful. I want to feel some progression. I want some extra cards added to my deck that don't bloat it, but really I'm happy when I draw it and see it. You know, some of the different campaign mechanics, and this is where all the opinions kind of stem from. So once again, I like my Marvel Champions quite a bit easier than most, but I want to win. You know, if I wanted a harder game, I'd play Lord of the Rings, or I'd play, what is that, Arkham Horror, the card game. But for this, I want to feel powerful. I want to get powerful because I'm playing a hero and defeating the villain. So I want a challenge, but I don't want it to be too difficult. So, and that's what I appreciate about this game, is you can make it harder. So that's my just opinions on the Marvel Champions campaigns. Hopefully you guys found this interesting, or at least gave it a good, you know, listen, or have your own opinions. You can leave them in the comments. I'm always down to hear. Maybe I looked at something wrong. So hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and until next time.